I'm excited to be able to come on with the top players in 2021 and the first and the newest member of Miami's 2021 recruiting class, Bensley Joseph. What's going on today, my guy?
Good, good, and you?
Pretty good, man. Well, I mean, it's now been a couple of days. You're committed. You're going to Miami, man. Take us through your feelings. What does it feel like to be committed?
It feels great. It's like a relief. Just, the stress is all done. Now you know what school you're going to, and now you can just work towards getting better for that school and the next level.
And you said one thing in a couple of different interviews that people are starting to learn, and that's that you were born in Miami. Obviously, you didn't grow up there and spend a lot of time, but just take us through just having that. How much of an impact did it have being able to possibly go where you're born?
It was good. I mean, it took a lot, but a lot of decision time because I was really leaning towards just staying home. Um, But really just took time now. Go back home where I was originally from, get to know kind of the background, and see family that I haven't seen in a while down there. So I'm very excited, to put on for my birthplace, and experience that lifestyle down south.
So is most of your family then out there then?
Yeah, some of my family, like half and half up here, and most of them down there too. Yes.
Absolutely. And I mean, let's kind of discuss this because you did narrow it down to your top five options. Boston College was in there, Georgetown, Providence, Marquette, and obviously Miami. All five great schools. Why did the schools be able to make your top five, and what stood out about each one of those programs?
Each of those, programs seen a lot of, great interest in my game and who I was. And when it came down to those five, I felt like those five made me a high priority to their program and what they were building. But credit to all those schools, all great coaches. And when it came down to decision time, I felt like I had to think about my play style and how it was going to affect, my right situation of how I play and what I like to play in. And I felt like Coach Larinaga in Miami, that play style fits the way I like to play with the pick and roll. Um, and, what they're trying to build, their point guard class, they have a upcoming senior in Chris Likes. And I felt like, playing in the ACC, one of the best conferences in the country, could better myself, to be playing against pros every night and playing in possibly the best conference in the country.
And you're going through this, obviously, both you and with your family kind of narrowing down. Was there maybe a school or maybe one or two other schools that really were close to Miami that you also were seriously considering up until the end?
I was really considering Boston College and Georgetown very highly. Both of them in Boston College, more staying home with my family that's down here. And Georgetown, I like what they were building and, former Hall of Famer Patrick Ewing trying to build in a new system. But, when it came down to the decision, I felt like, Miami was going to be, a place where I can better myself and also, learn a lot about my hometown birthplace.
And when you talk about Miami, I think some people kind of get confused. I mean, Miami's a school that obviously it would be a fun place to live, just overall where they're at in Florida, but also just a great community. It's a great program. What do you think it's going to take now to build Miami to what it could potentially become in terms of being one of the best programs out there?
I think it's going to take, a lot. I mean, again, what they want, they want kind of a leader and a point guard, guys that like playing around me and stuff. And as a point guard, I feel like leading them and being all together is what is going to separate us from any other team. The togetherness and competing every night because every game's not going to be easy, and the competing level will be tough. And I feel like it's going to take time to build, but eventually we'll get there and try to win as many games in the ACC and hopefully, take us as far to a national championship and however the season will look.
And depending now on if how good of a season both Earl and Matt have this upcoming year, they could obviously come back, be there with you when you get there. How do you have a relationship with either one of them, and how excited are you to play with those guys if you can?
I have a great relationship with Matt. Me and Matt have played in several, tournaments together. And I'd be very excited to play with those guys. And Earl. I feel like I can make them better around me, and they can make me better on and off the court. So all about pushing each other, competing. But those guys, those are serious guys. That I feel like I can better myself around and surround myself around.
And so kind of talk about your recruiting class now. You're the first guy, which means you're pretty much the face of it. You're going to be one of the main guys now. What do you look to build on this? Who's some of the guys you're looking to bring in to possibly add on to your 2021 recruiting class?
I'd like to bring in, big fella Mac. Love to bring in Mac. I'd love to bring in Efton, try to get some two Twin Towers with me. But any other guards or whatever, I'm willing to bring anyone. I'm just, very excited to see what we'll bring in. I obviously want to be better with the guys that I'm closest with around me. But, whoever I get, I'm just looking forward to, getting better with them and going as far as I can with those guys.
Take us through your recruiting approach to these guys. I mean, obviously both those guys you mentioned are high-profile guys, have a lot of schools. What separates Miami? Why would Miami be the best option for them to go?
I feel like Miami would be the best option because, with the guys they have on the roster now, there's a lot of seniors leaving. So I feel like, the minutes that'll open up my incoming freshman year will be, a lot. And I feel like, where it's kind of a big, with the ACC now, Miami was once one of the top programs, in the ACC. They provide a lot of, good amount of NBA guys. So I feel like, and you're playing in the best conference in the country. So I feel like, with those guys, come in and start something new, brand new, and, put Miami back on the map.
As you just mentioned, you're playing in one, if not the best conference in America, the ACC. How excited are you to play in that conference?
I'm very excited. I'll most likely be playing a potential pro every night, which is, what I want to do and compete against, the best. And the only way to compete against the best if you play the best. And I feel like that conference provides the most NBA guys. And, every night is going to be a game and a battle against, potential future NBA picks.
Now tell me, who would you say is your favorite team you're most excited to play against?
I'm very excited to play against Duke, North Carolina, Syracuse. Honestly, every team in the ACC, because most of them, they're bringing high-level guys. They're developing high-level guys. And, I'm just excited to play, mostly the Dukes and the North Carolinas, the big names. Because it's always, feel good to be one of the underdog programs playing against, top programs like Duke and North Carolina.
You talked about Coach Larinaga a little bit ago. What's your relationship like with him, and how close have you guys grown over the past few weeks and just over past few months during quarantine?
We grew a lot. Coach Larinaga was on me, for quite a while now. He made me feel like the first option. For ever since, they first offered me, Coach L has been very consistent in talking to me and, just helping me, telling me, what I could bring towards his program and, how to get there and, develop me to be the next, to be, better in the next level. So I think, him and our relationship's really close, and it'll only get better as much as we keep going through this journey.
And Miami had a pretty good team a couple of years ago with Lonnie Walker, a couple of guys around him. But the last really elite team that they had was a few years ago back with Shane Larkin. He also was an elite point guard. What would it be like to possibly look to develop into a guy like Shane and be able to accomplish some of the stuff he did in college?
It'll be good. Shane Larkin, one of the premier guards, out of Miami. What Shane did, he believed in Coach L and what Coach L had to bring. And I feel like, I want to be that second guy to, really believe in what he's going to tell me and develop me. And, so on goes, that'll play out, as much as however it will. And I think I'll develop and get better as time will tell with Coach L, and just believing in his process and what he's trying to build to, and bring to the program of Miami.
And you are committing at a time when we have a pandemic going on, we have all this stuff happening right now, and a lot of people expected for guys to not commit until maybe later on once you guys get back to AU games or high school, whatever. That's not been the case. Guys are committing every day, constantly right now. Why do you think guys are deciding to commit earlier than a lot of people expected?
I feel like, some guys are probably, tired of, with this whole no AAU and messed up a lot of things and, a lot of stocks for guys. So I feel like committing now is to, get it over with. And now, you're going into senior year knowing what you got to work towards, what you got to do to better yourself for that next level. Since, we basically just missed out on a big live period year in spring AAU. So I feel like now it's all about, processing and working towards a successful senior year, knowing what school you're going to so you can better yourself for that as well.
And so prior to all this stuff coming in, when did you kind of want to commit? I mean, did you want to commit as early as you just did, or are you kind of playing a little bit later on in the year?
Honestly, I kind of felt like it was a perfect time for me to commit.
Mm-hmm.
Um, with all this whole pandemic going on, it just, I didn't feel like it was really worth the whole, camera, with fall open gyms not going to really happen, really on film being watched, in the back of my head worrying about I got to play good for this and that. And also, just the opportunity of being too late and missing out on a school that has an opportunity open for me. And, I just didn't want to miss out and pass out on that. So building something new higher and quickly or kind of, it's the start of the process of why I committed so early.
Would you say if there was an AU season, you might have been able to push this back a little bit? You probably would have committed a little bit later.
Yeah, if there was a AAU season, I would definitely commit most likely during the school year or during, when we're playing.
Gotcha. And I mean, you were going to play like Fresno's Elite, I believe. How excited were you to play with them, and why'd you choose them?
I was very excited to play with them. This would have been my second year playing EYBL with them, and with that program, they bring a lot. They really develop point guards and guys. You're playing on the big stage in the EYBL, and it's a Massachusetts program, and they have a lot of local kids. And it's nice to play with your local guys and go up against the country. And I felt like playing with Expressions, I would have done that, and with my dogs out in Boston, we would have made a name for ourselves.
And you had an opportunity about a year ago to be a part of Team USA. What was that experience like? What was it like just being a part of that camp?
It was a great experience. I learned a lot, and went up against the best players, and that's again, that's what I like to do: play against the best. Because in order to be the best, you got to face those guys, and I felt like I bettered myself throughout the camp with learning from top guys and top coaches.
And so coming into that camp, you were obviously coming into your junior season. You had some of the seniors out there. What were some of the guys that you kind of learned from that kind of gave you a lot of tips and advice as you went through the camp, and just tips of basketball in general?
A lot of the future, USA guys, they gave a lot of tips and, were very helpful throughout this whole USA camp. The guys that have been there and, it was my first time. So, guys like Jalen Green, Caleb Love, those guys, Scotty Barnes, those guys were very helpful throughout, camp and leading you to, what they've done and seen in the past.
And I know in your bio you also have the Haiti flag. Kind of talk about that. What was that kind of your family nationality then, or your heritage, or talk to us about that?
Yeah, that's my heritage, my family. My entire family's from Haiti. I'm Haitian as well, and just to represent my country, and not a lot of people from Haiti can say what they're doing is working hard and stuff. So just to put on for my country as well, so people out there can know I'm Haitian, and I'm putting on for my country as well.
And down the road, I mean, we see guys obviously go back and when it comes to FIBA basketball, come to the Olympic times, they go back and play for the team of either where they're from or where their family's from. Is that something you ever talked about, possibly want to go play with the FIBA tournament with them?
Definitely. Whether it's Team USA or, Haitian national team. Would love to play for, both if I could, but, either or, I'd love the opportunity to play and represent my country.
That's awesome, man. One of the last big topics I want to touch upon is your high school career. You've had some movement, and you had another big decision this past few months now. You're also heading out to Putnam Academy. Let's bring it back to your freshman season, all the way back at Arlington. Take us to that first year, and I suppose like adjusting the high school landscape.
Arlington High School, it put me on, it kind of boosts my confidence as a player, playing in Arlington. Basically, being that, young at a certain age, you kind of lack the confidence most guys already have, playing with seniors and older guys. But with Arlington, put me in a stage, where I felt like I got to better myself to, play at the next level. And, it gave me the confidence to feel like I could play with anyone. And so after that, my sophomore year, I felt like, it was time for me to look at my new options and, play against the best competition around New England. And that's when I heard about prep school and Cushing Academy. And, we made that route, reclassed back to sophomore year to 2021. And, my first year at Cushing, it taught me a lot about the game basketball, a lot of how, it's different from, Arlington High and the level of competition you're playing every night. And it put me, kind of prepared me in a college-minded way of how to play in that system. And, every game being different, every Tuesdays and Saturdays. And it put me in a different format and how to understand the game way better. And as soon as, my junior year hit Cushing, I felt like that was the year, to take off. And I've been in the system. I know what, I've came through and how to play and adapt it to the new levels. And now for senior year, Putnam Science Academy, I like what they were offering, with their exposure and who they play and, play more games, and they play top teams in the country. And, with guys like, Hassan Diarra leaving and, future guys that they had, I felt like, it would have bettered myself to play against, those guys and that type of league and who they play and compete for a national championship.
And you mentioned the reclass midway through high school. It's something a lot of guys have started to look into and have even started doing. What kind of is that? What goes into that process, and how does that work out?
It's just a process. You think of time, you have to, a lot of thinking about, reclassification. Again, it helped me and my family and myself, of course, to, better my stock and better my name to get out there. And I think it helped in a big way that I, reclassed. And now I'm getting, the more exposure and attention that, that I felt like I lacked in my own grade. And, it bettered myself and put me in a better position for college coaches to see me.
And so you, after coming off of winning all NEPSAC player, you were obviously moving on, as you just said, now to Putnam Academy. Hopefully you get to play this season. What's your goals? What do you want to get done this upcoming year if you have it?
I definitely want to compete, for a national championship. Try to go three-peat with Putnam. And just, go in there and win as many games as I can, lead as best as I can, and play against the high-level guys. Play against the best we can. And, just to really, better ourselves as a team. We'll grow. We'll have ups and downs. But, it's all about staying together and persevering through the tough times. And I feel like with the team we have coming up, we're going to be really dangerous and a team to, compete with. Because, we want all the smoke, and we're excited for what's about to come down. Hopefully, with this whole season, we have a season. We're excited.
And one of the last things I like wrapping up with is talking about your legacy. I mean, I know you want to build a legacy both on the court, off the court in your community. By the time you walk away from the game someday, what do you want that legacy to be?
Just that, I gave it my all, that I never, backed down from anyone, that, I always gave it my 110%, really. And just to know I'm not floor general, that I'll play hard for any coach beside me and just give it my all.
Absolutely, man. My final thing before I let you go is, I know you obviously are wearing the cross. I know you're a believer. Can I talk about your faith? How has God helped get you to the point you're at today?
God has helped me in the big point. Without him, I feel like stuff that's happening now wouldn't have come true. So just, believing in him, he's helped me. And, without him, I don't know where I would be without him. So it's helped me in a lot.
Absolutely, man. Well, I'm definitely excited to see what God's got next for you, man. And appreciate you taking time to come on and congrats on the commitment again, man. Of
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you.
course, man. You know you're always welcome on, man. God bless.
Yes, sir. God bless you. Have a great day.